This mint is from our garden.
Hi everyone. This is me and Cohen in the kitchen, and Cohen was just saying this is mint from our garden. You grow mint, it's going to take over your garden, so make sure that you have it in a contained box of some sort so that it doesn't take over all of your crops. I have a subtly sweet hibiscus mint tea packed with anti-inflammatory phytochemicals and totally kid approved.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. It's so good.
What's your name?
Cohen,
How old are you?
5.
Are you vegan? What does that mean?
It means I'm vegan.
I'm Stacey Heiny. I am owner of The Urban Pharmacy. I am a holistic nutritionist and lifestyle wellness mentor, and I went plant-based in 2009. I originally went plant-based for the animals, but soon after I understood about the environment, and now, the last decade, it's really been about nutrition and helping other people live a lifestyle of longevity. I'm a holistic nutritionist and certified in plant-based nutrition, and also a food for life instructor with the Physicians Committee. I've been a holistic nutritionist for, I think, 4 years now, and then went through my certification for plant-based nutrition with Cornell, so through the T. Colin Campbell. In 2019, I got licensed for the Food for Life program with the Physicians Committee. We are at the National Health Association conference, and Cohen has face paint on because the kids are in their kids program and they are just having fun and swimming and making ice cream and doing all the fun things together. So crafts and face painting.
Is Cohen vegan from conception?
Yeah, totally.
How did you know it was safe?
I've understood from all of the doctors that we follow, you know, like Furman and Barnard and everybody in the plant-based movement and just the nutritional science movement, if we actually look at the guidelines, like people can thrive on eating whole plant foods at every stage of life. I went through my entire pregnancy totally plant-based. There was no mineral deficiencies, no protein deficiencies, anything like that. I got everything that I need because I just ate an abundance of whole plant foods and took supplements, and everything was fine. And same with Cohen. He just eats as much fruit as he wants, and whole grains and beans and nuts and seeds, and breastfeeding was super important. So making sure that you do know if you need to supplement with something or if you're not able to breastfeed, just knowing what you need to do. But there's a lot of resources out there. I just felt super confident, and I just listened to my intuition and everything was fine.
What are some of your favorite foods?
Dates, bananas, melon, that's it.
Dates, bananas, and melon.
Yeah, and donuts.
And donut. We've had a lot of them this weekend. There was like blueberry ones and then kale donuts, I think. So really yummy.
All right.
Ever since really learning the science, my husband got on board. He understood the longevity aspect, and especially once our son was born, he really understood the importance of not just eating processed vegan food, but eating real whole plant food so that he can be around for our son for a long time.
Do you think that raising a child vegan is protective in more ways than not raising a child vegan?
Oh, absolutely. If you just follow the science and understand the more plants that you eat, the longer that you live, as long as you're eating a nice, diverse rainbow of colors and you're getting your whole grains, your beans, your nuts, your seeds, your fruits, your veggies in a vast array, you are promoting longevity. So I 100% believe there are no risks when it comes to eating a well-planned, whole food, plant-based diet.
Awesome. So what kind of variety do you incorporate with your child?
When he was really young, we started him on fun different fruits and veggies, different things that you might not even find at the grocery store. Like, you know, we order fruit from Miami Fruit, or, you know, get like papayas and tropical fruit and different things that he might not be exposed to on a normal basis, so that he could get a lot of different flavors on his palate. We even introduced him to sprouts and microgreens at an early age. That is something that I learned from a pediatrician to help expose your children at a very young age to cruciferous vegetables and things that are more bitter, because a lot of the times children don't love eating those more bitter foods when they become a toddler, etc., because they are A, being exposed to the more processed foods that are highly palatable, and then B, they're bitter. So you want to get those bitter foods in as soon as you possibly can.
How do you transition a child from breast milk to that in the best way?
Yeah, so what we did was transition our son to a baby-led weaning method. So basically we let him actually use his hands. It was around 6 months to start eating foods. So I personally breastfed for 2.5 years. And then in supplementation to that, you start introducing those outside sources of nutrition around 6 months. So we started with like avocados, cooked down apples, softer foods, bananas, whole grains, pieces of like cut grapes, just things that they can grab with their hands and eat. We didn't make it too overwhelming. We didn't do any of the purees. We just let him explore with his hands, and he got the hang of eating very easily. It's what humans do if you just expose them to the right foods and if you let them explore.
Now, how do you get them ready for school and going into an environment where nobody else is eating this way?
Yeah, well, it starts really with the education for children at a young age. So you want to make sure that you are letting them know, hey, this apple would be better for your body than maybe something that you might see at school. And it just started for us just saying, hey, look, your friends might be having this food, but this is the food that you're going to get. He also learned in Montessori, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. A lot of the times, so many parents are very afraid that their children won't eat, but what I've learned from so many pediatricians is that a child, unless they have a food sensitivity or something medical going on, they won't starve themselves. So just expose them to these whole plant foods and they will eat them and they will get used to it. So we send Cohen with all of his food, we send him with all of his snacks, and we let the schools know that he's not allowed to have the sugar, he's not allowed to have the processed foods, he's not allowed to have the cheese sticks or the artificial colorings. He gets the food that we give him unless they have fresh fruit.
Are the doctors impressed?
He's totally normal and a standard kid, and I actually sought out a whole food plant-based doctor who's just an internal medicine doctor. At the earlier ages, we did have more of like naturopathic doctors, and that's great. We're all about that. They aren't super well versed in plant-based nutrition, so there is a little bit of a concern with some of those doctors, but if you find a doctor that is educated in whole food plant-based nutrition, they're just like, yes, keep doing what you're doing because you're doing it in a great way.
Awesome. Now, what about like family members or friends' houses? How do you prepare them for that? And are you worried about maybe grandparents? Are his grandparents vegan?
No, none of our outside family is plant-based. This is something that we have started and hope to help our family transition to. You just have to communicate. If you don't want your grandparents giving your kids ice cream or anything processed, you need to let them know, hey, this is the way that we eat. This is what he can eat. If he wants to eat ice cream, can you please take a frozen banana and put it in the blender and give him that? He can have as many dates as he wants. He can have as many whatever as he wants. You need to set the guidelines. You need to communicate. And if he goes over to a friend's house, you let the parents know. You just have to be open and honest. And a lot of the times what I've found is that if you're explaining this lifestyle to your kids' friends' parents, they are actually really receptive and very inspired to help transition their kids to a healthier way of eating too.
Essentially, by the age of 10, we're already seeing arterial damage. We're already seeing some signs of other issues, cardiometabolic disease, a little bit of obesity, whatever. And then by the time they're in their 20s, 30s, cancer could be developing and all that. I mean, it's dangerous not to feed your kids plant-based, right?
Absolutely. Like you said, at age 10, we are already seeing fatty streaks in the arterial walls of our children. And we know that chronic illness like diabetes, hypertension, blood pressure and blood sugar issues, and overweight and obesity, we are seeing this at an earlier and earlier age. And these chronic illnesses typically take decades to manifest. So we need to be preparing right now for the worst. And the way that we do that is to expand our children's knowledge and let them know that they need to be eating this way for their health and for the planetary health starting now. It is absolutely dangerous if we are not educating our peers and our children's parents about the processed food pandemic going on, and the Lunchables and all of the processed meats, the carcinogenic meats. These are dangerous foods that absolutely cause autoimmune issues potentially. Carcinogenic foods, cancerous promoting foods, processed meat, dairy, and these are not protective in any way. They are not health promoting, they are illness promoting. Also, our kids can't concentrate on these foods. They're having a really hard time learning. They might seem like they're fine now at a young age, but give them about 10 years and they're gonna be really struggling in the pleasure trap, and they're not gonna be able to get off these processed foods.
Some people might say it's cutting out the processed foods that are plant-based, not necessarily the animal that people are eating. How much of it do you think is processed plant food versus animal?
Well, I think that it's pretty equal when it comes to eating a processed vegan food and a processed animal food. I am not a promoter of either. I do not promote anybody eating animal foods, nor do I promote people eating vegan junk food. Yeah, the vegan junk food might be better for the planet, but it's really not overall better for our health. So we just need to be focusing on the right plant foods. I think that there are good transition foods if people want to transition to a whole food plant-based lifestyle or a vegan lifestyle, but we really need to be focusing on the power plate: whole grains, beans, fruits, and veggies.
So how much of the disease burden comes from eating animals versus eating processed foods?
The standard American diet is 60 or 65% processed food, and then I believe it's around 30% animal foods. So if you can cut down the animal foods, I think absolutely your health will improve. Now, what we know is that animal foods can be inflammatory and disease promoting, but so can processed foods. I think that if we can cut both of them out, we are on a better track. Studies have shown that just taking animal foods out and keeping some of the processed foods is beneficial, but we get the most benefit from cutting both out. So I think that that's what we really need to be focusing on.
Give us an example of the kind of work you do.
I work one-on-one with clients to help them transition to a more holistic lifestyle in general. So it's not just about plant-based eating, but that is the only thing I'm going to teach. If they want to transition in a slow way, that's fine. But that is what I teach. I teach plant-based nutrition. I also teach how to reduce chemical burden, because we have to think about lifestyle in a lot of different ways. So we're trying to reduce our external toxin load through the personal care products that we're using, through the people that we're hanging around. We need to focus on belief system and understanding the power of having a belief. We need to be surrounding ourselves with the right people. We need to connect our mind and our body. I have created a membership program for that, so women can join to help amplify their health in a holistic way. And I also like to teach people cooking classes. So we teach online, on YouTube, and then we also teach Food for Life classes that I sell classes for.
Cool. And now how can somebody access this stuff?
So they can go to the Urban Pharmacy, which is THEHERBAN, pharmacy, like farm, FARMACY.com, theurbanpharmacy.com. That's my website, or they can follow me on social media at The Urban Pharmacy or Stacey Heiny on YouTube and stay in touch. I do have a newsletter list that you can join on my website. I have recipes, and I have links to join my membership program as well.
Do you have any success stories that you'd like to share?
Well, just a few days ago, somebody said that they were already feeling so much more clear in their mind. They had their legs up the wall. That was a picture that they took, shifting into a parasympathetic state. And she had already lost 6 pounds in less than a month of just transitioning to a vegan lifestyle. And that was just a recent success story, but I do have many.
What's the most moving one, maybe?
You know, I think some of the most moving messages that I get are from people that I haven't necessarily even worked with yet. People who have been following me and telling me that I have been inspiring them for year after year after year, and all of the changes that they've made in their lifestyle to help their family and help themselves feel better. So those are some of the most inspiring stories to me, because they haven't even taken the leap to actually invest in themselves and work with me, which I know I can take them to the next step for. Those people that just pop into my inbox on a regular basis and just say, hey, I've been following you. Hey, you've helped my husband reduce his blood pressure medicine because we went vegan. Or, hey, my kid is off sugar because we started using dates instead of white sugar in our baking. Those are success stories that really hit home for me and let me know that my mission, which is to help people be more healthy every single day, just get 1% better, is working. And I'm walking in my purpose.
Do you know why some people might fail and how they might be able to prevent that?
The top 2 things would be, 1, they're not eating enough. A lot of the times people are just not aware of how low calorically dense plant-based foods can be. Sometimes people are left feeling hungry. So we want to focus maybe on more pastas or like a sourdough bread to help them make sure that they are getting enough calories and just amplifying the starch that they're eating, making sure they're getting enough beans, etc. So I think that people need to really be aware of getting enough calories when they switch to a plant-based lifestyle versus the standard American diet. And then secondly, with digestive issues, if people ramp up the fiber too fast, they are absolutely going to experience discomfort. So what I suggest to my clients is to go low and slow. I learned that method from Dr. Will Bolsowitz. He's been on my podcast twice. He is a gastroenterologist and he helps people understand the power of fiber to help heal their gut. So if you are experiencing bloating, discomfort, perhaps maybe you have an underlying issue, so you definitely want to get tested for that, but also just understanding that you need to transition to fiber low and slow. So I do suggest just 3 to 5 grams per day as you are transitioning of fiber. So you want to maybe think of just an extra apple a day, or a baked potato and an apple the next day. Or if you're transitioning to beans, you can't transition from a steak to a can of beans the next day. You have to think of it as a muscle. So you have a tiny little muscle that is able to digest beans within your stomach right now, or within your intestinal tract, and you need to feed it 1, maybe 2 tablespoons of beans, okay? Then the next day you increase that to 3 tablespoons of beans, and so on. And you let that bacteria get stronger, just like a muscle, and your gut microbiome will thrive. You also need to focus on diversifying the foods that you eat. So you want to have plant diversity, different types of fiber, so that your gut can break down soluble and insoluble fiber without a problem.
Yeah, somebody mentioned up to at least getting 30 different plants
30
a
to
week.
40 plants per week.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. I just heard that for the first time recently. So I'm really anxious to see how well I'm doing.
Yeah. Take your plant points and add them up.
Now, what about time though? If I eat too late, or you say get enough food, but sometimes it's easy to eat too much too frequently. Do you know if there's any benefit to resolving some of those issues through perhaps some more disciplined eating times?
In terms of weight loss, let's talk about weight loss. Research shows us that actually eating earlier in the day, even if you eat the same amount of calories throughout the day, is actually one way that you can lose weight or burn more calories. So eating earlier in the daytime can help you sleep better because you're not eating too much at night and your body doesn't have to focus on digesting. You want to fast for around 16 hours a day. We are constantly bombarding our body with excess things from the environment, air pollution, toxic water, toxic body products. We don't need to be putting more and more food into our body at all hours of the day because our body is already overwhelmed enough. So highly suggest trying for the 16-hour fast and then an 8-hour eating window, and trying to cut the eating window off at around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. at the latest, and then only liquids after that. That is something that I did learn through Dr. Bolsowitz's plant-fed gut masterclass.
What is the most interesting thing you've ever learned?
Something that I think is incredibly interesting is that you have a higher postprandial burn after you eat a plant-based meal versus an animal-based meal. So if you are looking to reduce your weight, which so many Americans are, if you eat plants, you actually burn more calories after your meal than if you are to eat the same amount of calories in animal products. You burn more calories. So isn't that fascinating?
Yeah. So do you know what the mechanism is behind that, I guess? Is it?
Oh, it has to do with thermogenesis of some sort. I'm not sure.
So you have a quote you'd like to share?
Oh, geez. Actually, a quote that has stuck with me for so long is walk barefoot in grass. And I know that sounds so random, but I remember when I was younger, I was drinking a tea and I turned the lid around and it said walk barefoot in grass. Now, for some reason that spoke to me. This was way before I was plant-based, but now I really understand of the power of actually walking barefoot in grass and earthing and connecting to nature so that we can reduce our stress and tap into our parasympathetic state. And that's actually another thing that's gonna help our digestion. So if people are having digestive issues, make sure that you're getting outside, connecting to the earth in a variety of ways, breathing your microbiome, putting your feet down onto the earth, and just taking a moment to settle down, because that can actually help your digestive system. But walk barefoot in grass is one of my favorite quotes. My husband and I sell produce at the farmers markets. My husband has really seen a huge change in his stress levels after he started farming.
Wow, yeah. Any last minute encouraging words or things you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just think that for anybody that wants to live a more healthy lifestyle in general and start transitioning to eating more whole plant foods, change their mindset and to just decrease their toxins, whatever it is that they're looking to do, stick with it. Have faith in the process and know that it's not going to change overnight. You're not going to change overnight. But if you get 1% better every day, can you imagine how different your life would look like just 1 year from now? And then 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road, you will be set up for success. You'll be feeling better. You'll be there for your family. You'll have the energy that you want. And that's really what it's all about.
Want to say bye?
Bye.
Be well.